It's a sleepy seaside suburb earmarked for a massive new housing development. But there's something in the air that residents fear is putting their lives at risk. Their almighty neighbour is the area's biggest employer, and it's spewing dust 24 hours a day.
It's a bit of a hidden treasure, I think.
It's a seaside suburb.
It's a slice of paradise.
It's a pristine area. It's got probably one of the best beaches. You can actually drive on the beach, which is great with grandchildren.
Picture postcard perfect, or so it was once.
And now it's a nightmare. It's a literal nightmare, mentally and physically.
Last 3 to 4 years, I don't think I've coughed as much, and my doctor's well aware of that.
Just a stone's throw from their slice of paradise at Sellicks Beach, 45 minutes south of Adelaide, is a giant quarry. Mike Vonberg says a recent expansion has seen it operating 24/7, spewing dust into the air to rain down on the homes below.
They've increased the volume of business exponentially, and the volume of dust now is totally unbearable.
I didn't know what I was in for.
John Zingini and his wife built their retirement home here, moving in 18 months ago.
So it was completely clean, and this is just from overnight.
Already?
You can see already.
Instead of enjoying their twilight years, their time is spent constantly cleaning.
So this is just a matter of hours?
Yes. From one night to the next morning.
Wow.
A couple of days, it'll be like this.
Wow.
Yeah.
From above, you can see every solar panel plastered, cars covered.
And with everything shut, the dust gets in through the vents of the bathrooms, the kitchen vent, okay, it still gets in. In the morning, on a bench top, a stone bench top, you run your hand and you can feel the grit.
The actual inconvenience factor is annoying, but the health factor is extremely worrying.
Coughing, tightness of chest, foggy head. So that's the physical part of it. And when we had it tested and we saw what it contained, I'm now scared that it's already affected me for the future. Very similar to the ones we had.
Residents commissioned their own test, which revealed the dust they analysed contains toxic and potentially deadly silica.
Is the quartz,
Yep.
the silica, crystalline silica, which is a high percentage.
Australian Lung Foundation CEO Mark Brooks says there's no safe level of exposure.
Exposure to any particulate in your lungs for a prolonged period of time can lead to respiratory ill health.
Last year, serious health risks for people working with manufactured stone benchtops containing silica prompted nationwide bans. Now, the New South Wales government has just announced a task force into silica dust and its effects on thousands of workers on tunnelling projects across their state.
So acting with urgency is absolutely critical in this case.
What's my future going to look like? It's affecting my health now. What's this mean for the future? Why aren't these government agencies doing something about it?
It's also a place earmarked by the South Australian government for 1,700 new homes as it deals with the housing crisis. And while it's easy to sell a sea change so close to the CBD, there's something prospective buyers aren't being told. There's a cloud literally hovering over this community, being created by one of its biggest employers.
If we don't have enough land on the market, then we won't have homes being built. And if we don't have homes being built, then the market starts to become completely inaccessible.
It's been described as scandalous by Independent Member of Parliament Frank Pangello.
Who, in their right mind, would go and buy a block and build a home that would probably be worth around $1 million and have to experience that?
In this case, we're urging caution and we're asking the South Australian government, without understanding what the health implications are for residents, that development should not go ahead.
And look, I'm all for homes. It's a major national problem. But I wouldn't want to get into homes up here at risk. And I think the government here again would be negligent in approving that
SA Housing and Urban Development Minister Nick Champion says testing as part of the rezoning process is still ongoing.
We're paying for independent modelling to be done, independent testing to be done. We'll obviously assess those reports when we get them, but I haven't received the code amendment investigations or recommendations yet.
Even before that land goes up for sale, others are getting out. John says if he'd known, he never would have built.
No way. I would have sold the block and bought a house somewhere else or built somewhere else, for sure. I'm actually looking at, if like in 12 months, if this doesn't improve, I won't stay here.
Adbri, which owns and operates the quarry, says the local rock has low silica content and poses minimal risk, and that it has extensive dust mitigation controls. An updated dust management plan by Adbri will be in place by next month.
We're looking for help. What this is, it's not wanting for people to lose their jobs or for things to close down or being vindictive. All we want is some help, and to date we've had no help from government whatsoever.
Well, when any prolonged exposure is bad, it just doesn't make sense to have a massive housing development next to a quarry. The EPA says in response to residents' concerns, it's been monitoring dust levels since January. I feel for the residents already living there. That is not the retirement they'd imagined.